Hello students, welcome back to your channel Biology with Dr. Sudha. Today we are going to start a new chapter, the fundamental unit of life. Fundamental means very important and the basic, and unit means a single structure of life. So today we are going to study about what is the fundamental unit of life. That you all know is the cell. Cell is the fundamental unit of life. To understand this thing, let us assume, like you must have learned about atoms in chemistry, that the matter, whether it is solid, whether it is liquid, or whether it is gas, matter is made up of some small identical units like this. What are these? These are atoms. So many atoms ज्वाइन करने के बाद क्या बनाते हैं? मॉलिक्यूल. बट बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? एटम. तो इट इज़ द बहुत सारे आइडेंटिकल एटम्स मिलके क्या बनाएंगे? मॉलिक्यूल. एंड इफ आई टॉक अबाउट सम बिल्डिंग, एंड this building is a very huge building, but ultimately it is made up of small identical units. What? Bricks. So bricks is the fundamental unit of this building. And if I talk about any living organism, whether it is a plant or an animal cell, suppose I am talking about a plant. It's a tree and it is made up of small identical units in many parts of the plant or tree. These are called cell. So cell is the fundamental unit of life, and the various cells when joined together they are giving rise to a structure, that structure which is functioning also. So what is the definition of cell? Cell is the structural and functional unit of life. So today we are going to start the chapter cell. Right? Okay. So what is the definition of cell? Cell is the structural, let me write here, cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Right? Okay. Now let us understand how this cell was discovered. First of all, the discovery of cell, the credit goes to Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke was a scientist in 1665. He was just observing the bark of a tree. Bark, you must be understanding what is bark. Bark means that the outer layer of tree. जो पुराने ट्री हो जाते हैं उनका जो बाहर हार्ड सी वुड होती है ना, जिसको हम छिलका बोलते हैं, दैट इज bark. So what he was doing, he was observing that bark in his self-designed microscope. And what he saw there were some compartments like this. Some hexagonal compartments were there. So these compartments like structures were seen. These were, you can say कि just the small structure to whom he called, these are the cell. Cell means in Latin language the meaning of cell is little room. तो छोटा सा एक रूम उसको दिखाई दिया जब वो बाग को ऑब्जर्व कर रहा था, राइट? तो उसको उसने नाम दिया सेल का. एंड after that this term the cell is what till now is used. दिखने में ऐसा लगता है कि this is not such a significant incident. What it was doing, he was just observing the bark of tree under the microscope and he found some compartments and he named them cell. But what he observed were the dead cells. It was just the outer cell wall. Today we know what is a cell wall, right? But at that time he was not knowing anything. So just simply these were the dead compartments of the bark and he named them as a cell. So Robert Hooke discovered dead cells of plants. Okay. After that, in 1674, Leeuwenhoek, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, what he was doing, he was also having some advanced microscope, and he was studying about the pond water. Then he found some animal cell. So credit of discovering the living cells, that's to animal cell, that goes to Leeuwenhoek. After that, there are various scientists also, those who were, after this discovery of cell, they started to do the more work on this cell. There was Robert Brown, who discovered nucleus. Today we know how important the nucleus is. Then Purkinje, in 1839, he said that if it is a cell, cell is having some fluid inside, filled, this cell is filled with some fluid, what he called, he gave the term protoplasm. That we know, the liquid filled inside the cell. That term was given by Purkinje. After that, two scientists, Sheldon and Schwann. Sheldon in 1838 said that all the plants are made up of cells. And in 1839, Schwann said not only plants, all the animals are made up of cells. So, after this combined work of Sheldon and Schwann, they frame out this cell theory. And what were the important points of cell theory? First, number one is all the living beings are made up of cell. Okay, and this cell is the basic functional unit of life. Second point, cell is the basic unit of life. Right? This was the cell theory given by Sheldon and Schwann. After that, one more scientist, Rudolf Virchow, he came and he added to this cell theory. What he said? He said all the cells, they arise from the pre-existing cells. कि जो भी नए सेल्स बन रहे हैं वो कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? वो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग सेल से आ रहे हैं. क्वेश्चन आता है हमारे दिमाग में कि जो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग सेल है वो कहाँ से आया? सो उसके लिए हम डिटेल में जाएंगे जब हम एवोल्यूशन का चैप्टर करेंगे, दैट हाउ लाइफ ओरिजिनेटेड ऑन दिस अर्थ, राइट? एंड फॉर दिस देयर इज अ वेरी पॉपुलर फ्रेज, all the cells they arise from pre-existing cell. What Rudolf Virchow said, that is omnis cellula e cellula. This was the term given by Rudolf Virchow. What does it mean? That all the cells they arise from the pre-existing cells. So with this cell theory is today's time is known as modern cell theory. Modern cell theory, after the addition of this point by Rudolf Virchow, it becomes a modern cell theory. So this was some interesting events in the discovery of cell. So now there is next question in front of us, that what is the shape and size of the cell, right? So if I talk about the shape, the cell can be of various shapes. It can be shape and size of cell depends upon the function it performs and location, right? So cells can be of various shapes, right? For example, let me take some few shapes. Suppose this is the spindle shaped cell, This is nucleus. So this shape can be of smooth muscle fibers. Okay. The cell can be simply round, right, with the eccentric, means away from the center, eccentric nucleus. That can be your ovum or egg. Cell can be of the irregular shape, any shape like amoeba. It can be the shape of WBCs also, right? And the cell can be longest one also. Like if I hope you must be able to recall what is this shape. What is this shape? This is neurons, like longest cells. This is its axon, and that details we will do in the tissue chapter, right? This is neuron. And cell can be biconcave, as our human RBCs are enucleated, means nucleus is not present, so it can be compressed in between, that is giving it a biconcave shape. That is size of cells, shape, that cell can be of various shapes. And if I talk about the size of cell, the size can be a smallest it can be a largest. Smallest cell, you can give the example of this PPLO, the smallest cell is of mycoplasma. These are PPLO, formerly called PPLO, means pleuropneumonia like organism, and largest cell is of ostrich egg. Largest cell is of ostrich egg, right? So cell can be of various shapes, and size also varies from a very smallest to the very largest. So on which thing it depends? It depends upon the function and location, right? Okay. Now each living organism is made up of cell, right? And cell itself is capable of performing all the functions. Like it can survive as a single cell, it can survive with combination of many cells. So on the basis of this, we can divide the organisms into two types: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms, right? Unicellular organism is single-celled organisms. You can give the example of amoeba, paramecium, etc. And multicellular, we can give the example of plant cells, animal cells, etc. Right? So with this, if I talk about how a cell is capable of performing its function. So there are very large number of cells in a multicellular organisms, and many cells join to form tissues, and tissues, they will join to form organs. Organs will join to form organ system, and many organ system, they will join to form a complete organism. Right? There is, all these cells together shows division of labor in multicellular organism. In multicellular organisms. What do you mean by this division of labor? Means division of work. काम का divide करना. Like if I talk about a human being, It has million, billion, trillions of cells, and cells have joined together to form a tissue then organ and organ system, and then a complete organism. Now, if you are eating the food, you need not to worry that how our food is going to digest. The digestive system will take care of this thing, and you need not to worry about how this digestion will provide us energy. The energy will be given by oxygen, but from where the oxygen is coming, this is the job of respiratory system, right? So this respiratory system, digestive system need not to worry about the oxygen. And after that, removal of waste material, who will take care of? That is excretory system. So what I want to say, in multicellular organism, all the functions, all the processes to live a life are taken care by this division of labor. Means all the cells have taken their work, that is division of labor. And in unicellular organism, a single cell too is capable to take care of all these functions, right? So in unicellular, in which a single cell is taking care of all the functions to live a life. How it is possible? A cell, what I said, a cell is capable of having its own life with the help of so-called specific components. These are known as organelles. Cell organelles, that we will do. What are cell organelles, right? So with this we can say the unicellular organism are able to perform their function due to this specific cell organelles, and there is division of labor in multicellular organism. And also it is very interesting to know that whether it is a plant cell, whether it is an animal cell, all the living cells having some same kind of cell component, that is organelles. Like mitochondria are also present in animal cell, they are also present in plant cells, still the functions are different, right? This nucleus is present in all the cells. So we will do the details of these cell organelles, right? What are cell organelles? But before that, let me start that suppose I am taking one cell. Cell may be of plant, may be of animal, or may be a single cell. So every cell is having a outer membrane. This membrane is known as plasma. This membrane is known as plasma membrane. Let me draw it here. I think it's not visible. If I draw a cell, right? This cell is having its outer membrane, that is called plasma membrane. Inside each cell there is nucleus, right? And fluid filled inside the cell, that is known as cytoplasm, right? So these three structures are common to each and every cell. Every cell is having plasma membrane, every cell is having nucleus, and every cell is having cytoplasm. And in this cytoplasm, if I talk about a eukaryotic cell, there are various organelles. We will draw the diagram after that, but let's have a basic understanding, right? So outer membrane is plasma membrane. So let us study first of all about plasma membrane. A brief introduction you can say. Plasma membrane is the outermost covering. Plasma membrane is the outermost covering. Okay. So can you tell me what is the role of this plasma membrane? This plasma membrane is separating the cell from outer atmosphere, yeah, from other cells. Like this is the cell. Now this is its external medium. So this plasma membrane is separating this cell from its external atmosphere. Like if I am talking about, to make it simple, let us consider like I am standing in one room and this room is having a wall which is separating it from the other rooms, right? So this room's wall is what? प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन. तो आप ऐसा कह सकते हो जो सेल की वॉल है, वॉल नहीं, वर्ड यूज नहीं करोगे सेल वॉल, दैट वी विल डू इन प्लांट्स. आउटर जो कवरिंग है जो सेल को बाहर वाले सेल से अलग कर रही है, उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे, सेल मेम्ब्रेन। ओके, नाउ दिस मेम्ब्रेन, इसमें से कुछ मटेरियल तो अंदर जा सकते हैं, कुछ मटेरियल इससे बाहर आ सकते हैं। मीन्स अगर मैं इस रूम में खड़ी हूँ तो दिस रूम इज हैविंग वन डोर ऑल्सो, विदाउट यू कैन से कि दिस my permission nobody can enter and nobody can go out. I am in this class, right? So there is one door, so whenever somebody has to enter I have to open the door. So this plasma membrane is playing the same role. This is semi permeable or you can say selectively permeable membrane. Means it gives permission to few things to come out and few things to go out and come in. So this is the role of plasma membrane, that it is selecting. Everything cannot enter, everything cannot go out. So this is semi permeable membrane. The materials can move out and can go in. So one is selectively permeable. Second, what I have already told you what is do, it separates the cell from external environment, right? Okay, so now you know, let us understand how it allows some material to come in and come out. What are the processes due to which this membrane is playing its role efficiently? For example, as you all know, cell is taking oxygen. Suppose I am taking the example of gases, and what it is giving out? It is giving out carbon dioxide. The gases can move in or can move out. As carbon dioxide is a waste, it has to be removed from the cell, and oxygen is necessary for the cell and it has to be taken in. Okay, for this, the process name you must have heard, diffusion. So plasma membrane is this diffusion of gases. Plasma membrane is taking these gases or giving out these gases through the process of diffusion. What is the meaning of diffusion? Diffusion means the spontaneous movement of substances from its higher concentration towards the lower concentration, right? If I spray some perfume in one corner of the room, it will get spread out in whole the room by diffusion. If I put a drop of ink in a water, that whole water will become blue in color as that of color of ink. That is diffusion, right? Means if the concentration of carbon dioxide is higher inside the cell but outside it is less. So I am talking about this concentration. Concentration of carbon dioxide is less and it is more in, suppose it is more in cell. So what will happen with the help of diffusion? From higher concentration towards the lower concentration, this carbon dioxide will move. So movement of substances from higher concentration to lower concentration is known as diffusion. Like this, oxygen is less inside and outside in the air it is more. So where it will move? It will move from outside to inside. So that is also by diffusion. Next term we come across is osmosis, right? So what is osmosis? The movement of water molecule from its higher concentration towards the lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis, right? For example, like if I have suppose this container, I have make a partition in this container with the help of a semi-permeable membrane, or you can say a membrane which is slightly porous, like छोटे pores है उसमें. And if I put water in this beaker, ठीक है, I have started putting the water from this side, higher concentration, ठीक है. Through this semi-permeable membrane, this water will move to here also, less concentration, ठीक है. After some time, there will be equal water level. So how this water has entered in this compartment? With the help of osmosis. ठीक है, तो osmosis you can say is the diffusion through semi permeable membrane. Okay, then we will come across some terms, like if I give you one question, let us understand this concept of diffusion and osmosis, and on the basis of that there is one question: what will happen if I place a animal cell or plant cell in hypotonic solution? I will explain what is the meaning of this hypotonic and hypertonic. Hypertonic and isotonic, right? Hypotonic means if water content is more. Suppose I have taken a solution of sugar and water. Solution is what? Mixture of solute and solvent. Solute plus solvent is equal to solution, right? Solute is sugar, maybe salt also. Solvent is generally water, as you must know water is a universal solvent, and that will form a solution, right? If the solvent is more than the solute, solvent is more than solute, then this solution is known as hypotonic solution, और इसको हम dilute solution भी बोलते हैं. That is also called dilute solution. What will happen if I put suppose a plant cell? You can say suppose मैंने किशमिश रख दी इसके अंदर. I have put some raisins. या you can say कि I have put किशमिश या grapes, right? If I put there is a plant cell. If I put this in hypotonic solution, in hypotonic solution water is more outside and किशमिश क्या है? Shrinked resin है. तो water is less inside. More outside, less inside, right? So what will happen? This water will move in. This water will move in, or the cell will swell. वो किशमिश है वो swell हो जाती है. That is an example of hypotonic solution. What will happen? The plant cell that will swell. Why it will swell? Through the process of osmosis. The water will move in from outside to inside, means from higher concentration to lower concentration, right? Okay. I think you must have understood this concept of hypotonic solution. Now, let us take hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution, if solvent is less than solute, solvent is less than solute, then this solution is known as hypertonic, and that is commonly known as concentrated solution, right? So if I have taken, let me take the same example. If I have placed any animal cell or plant cell in a solution, suppose there is a solution in which sugar is more, and water is less, means what is more? Solvent is less and solute is more, right? That is hypertonic solution. Now if I put, suppose I have taken one swollen, that किशमिश मैंने जो पूरी फूल गई थी उसको मैंने रख दिया एक concentrated solution में. Now what will happen? Water is more here. यहाँ क्या है? ज़्यादा है, और बाहर क्या है? लेस है. तो क्या होगा? Cell will shrink. The movement of water from higher to lower concentration. So क्या होगा? ये जो water है अंदर से बाहर की तरफ आ जाएगा. बाहर की तरफ आते ही क्या हो जाएगा? This cell will shrink, Okay, so what will happen to the cell in hypertonic solution? It will shrink. What will happen in hypertonic solution? It will swell, right? Okay, now what happened in an isotonic solution? Iso means same, means concentration of solute and solvent is same. In isotonic solution, solute is equal to solvent and there is no effect on the cell. So these are the concept to explain this hypertonic and isotonic solution, right? And after that, one thing I want to add that plasma membrane is highly flexible. It is highly flexible and it is made up of lipids, and proteins. Okay, lipids and protein. The detailed structure we can see only with the help of microscope, and due to this property of flexibility, the plasma membrane can engulf any solid particles by the process known as endocytosis. Like we have done the amoeba. Amoeba is having any shape, irregular shape. Its membrane is very flexible. With the help of pseudopodia, it can engulf any food particles inside this by surrounding this material like this, that it can take in. By the same process of engulfing the solid material inside it, by the process of endocytosis, it is possible due to the flexibility of plasma membrane. So plasma membrane can show endocytosis. It is highly flexible, made up of lipids and proteins, and it is selectively permeable. Selectively permeable is we have done by the process of diffusion, osmosis, and here in this video we have done about the hypertonic and isotonic solution. The next part we will continue in the next video. Till then, if you like the video, please give a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you can get the updation. So do press the bell icon. With this, thank you.